Bank robberies today are all about computer hacks and digital theft, but in 1972, four men pulled off what would be worth $25 million today, using nothing but tools you could buy at a hardware store. Let me tell you about one of the most audacious heists in American history.
The fascinating thing about the city center bank robbery is how these guys approached it like military strategists rather than common criminals.
They really did. Robert McDonald, James McDonald, Lewis Werner, and Joseph Manley spent months studying every detail, employee schedules, security patterns, and the building's weaknesses. What's remarkable is how they identified this particular branch specifically because it had an outdated vault system.
So what made their execution so unique compared to other robberies of that era?
Well, they brought industrial-grade equipment, professional blowtorches, specialized drills, and somehow got their hands on detailed architectural blueprints. They weren't just winging it. Every step was calculated down to the minute.
That level of planning really shows in how they timed everything. 11 p.m. on January 19th, when the streets would be quiet but not suspiciously empty.
And here's what's incredible. They had actually practiced their escape routes multiple times, timing traffic patterns and identifying potential police checkpoints. They even had backup routes planned in case something went wrong.
You know what's ironic? After all that meticulous planning, it was the smallest details that brought them down.
Exactly. They left fingerprints on their tools, and one witness remembered seeing their van. It's fascinating how such tiny oversights can unravel even the most sophisticated plans. The FBI brought in their top forensics team, and those small pieces of evidence became crucial.
The trial must have been quite something, I understand. It became a media sensation.
Oh, it was huge. The prosecution had this mountain of evidence, the fingerprints, witness testimonies, and they'd even recovered some of the stolen money. But what really sealed their fate was when one of their own started talking to authorities.
And the aftermath of this heist had some pretty significant implications for banking security, didn't it?
That's right. It literally changed how banks operate. They started implementing sophisticated alarm systems, biometric scanners, and time-locked vaults. You know, the kind of security measures we take for granted today, but were revolutionary back then.
Well, it's like they say, every security system is only as strong as its weakest link.
And that's what makes this story so relevant even today. While modern bank robbers might use keyboards instead of crowbars, the fundamental lesson remains the same. No matter how well planned a crime is, there's always a trail leading back to the perpetrators.
It really does feel like we're looking at a different era entirely.
You know what's particularly fascinating? The total haul was $4 million, equivalent to over $25 million today. But they didn't just grab everything. They were selective, taking items that would be harder to trace. It shows a level of sophistication that went beyond just breaking and entering.
That kind of strategic thinking seems almost quaint compared to today's cybercrime methods.
Exactly. And that's what makes this case so significant historically. It represents the end of an era in American crime, when physical skill and planning were being replaced by technological expertise. The story of the City Center Bank heist isn't just about the crime itself, it's about a changing America.
And I suppose the ultimate message hasn't changed: crime doesn't pay, no matter how clever the plan.
Well, that's the thing about these elaborate heists. They make for great stories, but they almost always end the same way. Robert McDonald and his crew had their moment of glory, but they spent years behind bars. It's a reminder that even the most perfectly planned crime usually has an imperfect ending.